What happened to the Batfleck movie was a crime against the art form. Ben Affleck was going to star, write, and direct and produce the movie. But Jeff Johns was pushing and pushing for him to change the tone and the direction of the movie. They bullied him into stepping down as the writer-director, or at least the director, and just to star in the movie. They approached Matt Reeves to direct Ben Affleck as Batman. Matt Reeves rightly said no. He saw the dangers of doing somebody else's movies. I make my movie, I don't make a Batman movie at all, Matt Reeves said. Quite right too. But there's another thing. The reason that Ben Affleck moved away from this movie wasn't purely because of his alcoholism, like it was reported in Access Media. They were pressuring him so badly that his good friend, his very, very, good friend Matt Damon said to him, if you fight them, you will be crushed and it will damage your alcoholism. You're not in the condition to make this movie. So he stepped down. It's the same thing why Snyder walked away from Justice League. Not purely because he was mourning his daughter. They were putting such pressure on him to change the direction of his vision for the movie. With the death of his daughter, he wouldn't have been able to handle it. Now, I found a very interesting article from Screen Rant, so let's get into it. 10 ways Ben Affleck's Batman movie would have been different to the Batman. Before Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson's The Batman, the DC Universe was going to have a very different Batman solo movie with Ben Affleck. Now this is by Kevin Erdman of Screen Rant. Before 2022's The Batman starring Robert Pattinson and directed by Matt Reeves, the DC Universe had plans for a solo Batman movie starring and directed by Ben Affleck. However, Affleck's vision for his Dark Knight would have been very different from the new version, who now exists in his own timeline. And the version of Gotham City, although the Batman has been hugely praised for its dynamic take on the Caped Crusader, some may wonder what Ben Affleck's would have looked like, building off of his debut in 2016's Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice. Contracted for multiple appearances as the Dark Knight in the DCEU, Ben Affleck was set to write, direct and star in a solo Batman feature following his appearances in Batman vs Superman, Suicide Squad and Justice League. However, a combination of factors gradually led to Affleck leaving the writing and directing duties before choosing to leave the role altogether. As such, Warner Brothers pivoted with Matt Reeves' vision for the Batman starring a younger Bruce Wayne, recasting with Robert Pattinson, who became a new Batman in his own universe. However, various details about Affleck's original movie have been revealed over time, highlighting several key differences from the 2022 film. First and foremost, 2022's The Batman is set in its own Elseworld timeline and universe, apart from the DCEU or the future DCU envisioned by new DC Studios heads James Gunn and Peter Safran. Focusing on a younger Batman in the second year, as Gotham's Dark Knight Bruce Wayne is largely on his own as he's still developing his crusade and methods. Likewise, it's unlikely that Reeves' universe will feature any other DC heroes beyond those who are directly a part of the Batman mythos. In comparison, Ben Affleck's The Batman would have been set in the aftermath of Justice League in the DCEU. The film would have continued Bruce Wayne's arc after forming a team of heroes to defeat Steppenwolf and any future threats such as the teased in Justice League. At the end of Justice League's theatrical cut, or the likes of Darkseid as seen in Zack Snyder's Justice League, which released in 2021. Affleck's version of the movie would have still been connected to the greater DCEU at large. According According to Affleck, his main focus while developing the script for the Batman was Slade Wilson, Deathstroke, the DC Universe's greatest assassin, played by Joe Manganiello, who was featured in both versions of Justice League post-credits scenes. Zack Snyder's original version saw Lex Luthor giving Slade Batman's secret identity. As such, Deathstroke would have been primarily and largely a singular villain of the Batman in Affleck's original version. In comparison, Reeves the Batman has a wider selection of rogues, including the Riddler, the Penguin, and crime boss Carmine Falcone. Affleck was also reportedly inspired by DC's Arkham Asylum comics and video games. As such, his version of the Batman would have had some key psychological thriller elements, as the iconic asylum would have likely been a major location. That being said, Matt Reeves' version does feature a couple of scenes in Arkham, and there is a spin-off Arkham Asylum series reportedly in the works, which may take reference from some of Affleck's initial ideas. I don't think so. According to Manganiello, Deathstroke's mission to kill Batman would have been an incredibly personal vendetta. Circumstances would have seen Slade Wilson holding the Dark Knight responsible for the death of his son, seeking merciless revenge as a result, while 2022's The Batman has Paul Dano's Riddler as the primary antagonist. Edward Nygma actually admired Batman, believing they were allies, seeking to rid Gotham of its corruption together. Despite being quite different, both villains' motivations are equally compelling in their own right. Although an actress was never connected to the role, Batgirl was rumoured to be in Ben Affleck's The Batman. As such, one has to wonder if Leslie Grace would have been Ben Affleck's Batgirl, never in a month of Sundays. Before her movie was cancelled, although Michael Keaton was set to play Batman, that might have been a result of the Flash movie with Barry Allen changing the timeline back when Keaton was rumoured to replace Affleck as the DCEU's new Batman due to Affleck's exit and explained by shifts in the multiverse. It's also been confirmed that Robin's murder in the DCEU would have finally been explored. Currently, it's confirmed that Jared Leto's Joker murdered Robin, that Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn was involved as well. Additionally, Zack Snyder confirmed that Dick Grayson was the Robin who was murdered by Joker rather than the second Robin, Jason Todd, as seen in the original DC comics, with Reeves the Batman being set in its own timeline with a younger younger Dark Knight. There was zero opportunity to follow up on the murder of Robin, first teased in Batman vs Superman. Concept art from artist Keith Christensen revealed that Ben Affleck's Batman would have had an upgraded costume in his solo feature, one that would have incorporated more armor pieces overlaid on top of the original suit seen in 2016's Batman vs Superman. However, the suit worn by Robert Pattinson in The Batman is very much like a prototype version. To that end, much of the resources and gear used by Pattinson's Batman highlight the early stages of the Dark Knight's vigilante career compared to the DCEU's, who'd been Batman for more than 2 decades. Although he didn't specify which DC heroes would have made appearances in Ben Affleck's The Batman, Matt Reeves did reveal that the version of the script he read did have a handful of DCEU cameos. As such, it follows that one or more of Bruce's fellow Justice League members would have stopped by to visit Gotham at some point in the initial plot. However, the Batman's unique status as an isolated franchise from the rest of the DCU means that Reeves' trilogy will likely remain grounded, keeping itself concerned only by the heroes and villains who exist within the city limits of Gotham. Revealed by concept art from Jay Oliver, it was confirmed that Deathstroke would have wielded his traditional sword in Ben Affleck's The Batman. This implies that the movie would have maintained a core focus on martial arts choreography, highlighting Bruce Wayne's training and combat skills as was seen in the iconic warehouse scene in Batman vs. Superman. While Robert Pattinson's Batman did prove himself capable of handling multiple foes at once in the Batman's opening scenes, hopefully his own combat prowess will continue to improve as Reeves' trilogy continues. Matt Reeves also revealed that Ben Affleck's The Batman script had a lot in common with James Bond franchise, apparently very action-driven with big set pieces. The concept for the Batman was something that Reeves wasn't as enthused by. While it does have its share of exciting action scenes, Reeves' version of the Batman is very gritty, dynamically character-driven. However, it makes perfect sense that Ben Affleck's The Batman in the meta-human filled DCEU would have likely seen Batman making serious technological upgrades, arming himself with all kinds of new gadgets, not unlike 007 himself. So a very, very good article from Screen Rant. Yes, Ben Affleck's The Batman was going to be, hardcore Batman. It was going to be action-packed, unlike the Batman. Now, I know that Snyderverse stands have gone toe-to-toe with Matt Reeves and Pattinson stands. There's no point in that. The Batman is a great movie. But what happened to Ben Affleck's The Batman, as I said on the top of the show, was a crime of art. It was a crime on the art form. I believe very confidently, as I always did, about the Snyder Cut, it will be one of the most epic movies ever made. And I think this film would have been lauded. I think this film would have been just as long as Matt Reeves' The Batman, running in at 3 hours. Some people have complained that Deathstroke isn't a Batman villain. It doesn't really matter. He's a DC villain, and Ben really wanted to use him. Now, we've all fought for this movie to happen. We don't know if Ben actually still wants to make this movie, but if he did, I'd say, let's make the Batfleck movie. I mean, come on. It sounds amazing. We really lost out. We really lost out on the full Snyderverse plan. And Ben Affleck's The Batman would have continued the saga of the Snyderverse. And not to have it in my collection is devastating. It's a crime against art.